One of the biggest change that Overdress format has brought to Vanguard as a card game is the fact that the support has shifted from the clan focus into a nation focus. This allows Bushiroad to actually have some more liberty in their designs, as they can take elements from the clans that is in that particular nation and implemented it to make a very interesting right lines. However, some of the change that has been done so far has been on the negative side of life, and there is definitely a lot of complaint coming from a lot of players who prefer more freedom in their deck buildings, and many of them still prefers to play clan instead of nations. Well, for me, I actually still prefer to play nation. I do feel that Overdress has changed and fixed a lot of issues that I used to have with the Vanguard in general in the past. However, on the other hand, I do sympathize with some of the complaints that these clan lovers or like the nation dissatisfiers do have in the current formats of Overdress. One of such those complaints is the fact that the freedom that players used to have when building a deck has kind of disappeared as we combine the clans into nations. However, is having a generic card this early in current format is a good thing for Overdress? That is the question I will be trying to delve into today. As usual, a disclaimer here, as most of my video has been very opinionated. This is based purely on my opinion, and as someone who has played Vanguard for all iteration of it from the OG all the way to Overdress. So if you guys have your own opinion talking about the nation system and the generic support, leave down in the comments below. Also, I make Vanguard content semi-regularly, as much as I can do. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, consider like, share and subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell to keep up with the notification, as all this engagement will help to boost my channel. So for those who have done it, thank you so much. And without further ado, let's talk about whether Overdress card should be more generic than what it is right now. One of the largest points that clan lovers does talk about Overdress format a lot is the fact that many of the cards that has element of the clans, like for example Aqua Force with multi-attack, have a name specific restriction built into the effects. A very good example for this is of course Flagberg Dragon, which is essentially an entire Aqua Force in a right line. This is completely warranted, as if this is what Bushiroad will be doing for the next 4 booster, for the next entire year, then it is a problem. However, as of right now, I do not think this is a problem, as introducing this kind of a strong generic support this early in the age of Overdress will just simply lead to the overpowered crave that we have seen in the late V format. If you do not believe this, then try out think of it this way. If Flagberg support became generic, not only Overdress format will be overrun by the Stoicheia for a long time, the premium format will be even harder to fix, as they will need to ban a lot of cards to make sure that the format is healthy. And that's why I think this is the reason why they decided to go with the name specific support to limit the brokenness of the card.
Interesting.
This is actually seen in the V format as well. And for a lot of people who complain about V format is better than D format right now, of course it is gonna be, because V format has been around for almost 4 years already.
No, he's got a point.
But if we start to compare back to V format back in 6-8 month old, which is roughly around BT03 or BT04 I believe, it is going to be very different, as there is a lot of specific name support in that era of V. A very good example of this specific support card is of course King of Night Alfred and even the Monarch Alfred, as they only focus on one single regard, and that is Blaster Blade. Of course, during that era V, there is definitely some generic support, but it is either doesn't make a huge difference in the particular deck, or it takes a lot of cost to actually pull it off. Examples include Aramo, which as long as you can retire, you can make use of Aramo effect, and Victorious Deer, which is a very generic card but costs a lot to actually pull it off, which is Soul Blast 2 grade 3s and discard 1 card. Now looking back into the D format general supports, and if you try to look into all the cards in all the nations that does have a generic purpose in their nation, you will notice that there are more or less not that broken.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
A very good example for this is of course Dark States Soul Shards units, Gun Gurugram, Arshada, Brainwash Riddler. These cards are very generic soul charger that can be slot in any of the deck that is currently available in Dark States. And one common theme with these few cards are the fact that they are not that broken or game changing to be used in any of the decks, and that's why they are allowed to exist. Another interesting trend in the format that I think a lot of people do not really aware is the fact that some of these specific support are able to use in the specific deck that is not built for as well. The most well-known example is of course Pandemonium Tactics, which actually mostly used by Barrow Magnus and Bruce Soul Charge deck, as the Soul Charge 4 is always extremely welcome for Barrow Magnus to accelerate his skill to 15 souls very quickly. Of course, there is definitely a black sheep of the group, and that is Stoicheia. And I think Stoicheia among the other nations has the most interesting lineup in terms of the clan that combine to it, due to the fact that it is combining the original Beta Kalina clans and the Zoo clan. Therefore, the skills are quite hard to mix together, but we definitely see some of these generic support that does work with all the decks, and some of the elements from other clans that is in the other right line. A very good example for that is Call of the Wild, which essentially is a Grand Blue card despite it being in a very nature focused deck. Great nature focused deck. At the end of the day, I do feel that a lot of players need to understand that we are moving toward the Yu-Gi-Oh style of archetype, where some of the support are specifically designed to be used in the particular archetype only. While there may be a generic support confirmed to be released between the boosters, there is a chance that these generic support are not immediately built for the current right lines in the nations, but for the future right line, which may reach to the very insane interaction that we may not know of, except for Bushido, since they are the creator of the card games. And that is all I have for today. I decided to go with this topic in particular as I have seen a lot of argument online about clan versus nation in multiple forums, and I do feel that I want to address some of the points that the clan lover make, as I feel these are quite unfair to the nation lover. So I hope I was able to give you guys a bigger picture when it comes to the card game design, especially from someone who play more than one card game. So if you guys enjoy this type of content or have your own comments on the generic support in the Overdress format, do leave in the comments below, as I'm really curious to see what do you guys think of these things. And that's all I have for today, guys. Stay healthy, and this is Mac Megane signing out.